full upscale dining experience, which happens to be inside the Renaissance Hotel. Open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Tallulah is the perfect spot for that business lunch or that elegant night on the town. For reservations or to view the menu, visit TallulahRestaurant.com. That's TallulahRestaurant.com.
We would like to invite you to attend a Heritage Gala benefiting Heritage Ranch Christian Children's Home on Saturday, April 22nd at the Heritage Ranch campus. You'll enjoy local culinary talents, a whiskey and wine pull, dessert dash, raffle, live auction, and more. Special thanks to sponsors Cadence Insurance, Guarantee Media Group, Nexstar Media, The Corbell, and Long Law Firm. You don't want to miss the Heritage Gala on Saturday, April 22nd. For ticket information, call 225-658-1800 or visit hrbr.org.
If you run a business, you know a missed call is a missed opportunity. Preferred Data Voice Networks offers dependable cloud-hosted, hybrid, and on-premise phone systems with work-from-anywhere features like mobile soft phones, call failover, call forwarding, and more. Baton Rouge's local Preferred Data Voice Networks is backed by around-the-clock support and has been trusted since 1980. Dial 225-924-2700 or visit pdvn.net and learn how we can make doing business easy.
This is Malik Neighbors with the Tigers. Are you looking for a teammate to help you achieve your financial dreams? Join my team at Louisiana National Bank to experience uncommon banking. Stop by Louisiana National Bank and visit the friendly staff or online at ln.bank. Equal housing lenders and members of FDIC.
If you've been injured, it doesn't matter if you were hit by a big truck, a smart car, or anything in between. I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12671. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX, Jackson, KNXX, Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, Hunt Palmer. Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Friday. Been a soggy morning here. I think things are about to clear up for the rest of the weekend. Should be a good one down here in South Louisiana. Hope you make the most of it. Hopefully that work week's either in the rearview mirror or just about that way. We're with you for the next 2 hours here on the Hunt Palmer Show. It's going to be a busy weekend in the world of sports around LSU. We're going to talk spring game coming up in the second hour. I'm going to talk with Shay Dixon at 2:30 about the recruiting implications. This is basically turning into a recruiting weekend for LSU. Yes, they're going to allow you to go inside Tiger Stadium and watch them play some football, but this is a recruiting weekend. They've decorated the field as such. Joe Burrow's showing up. It's a bigger recruiting weekend than it is a football playing weekend, but we'll talk about it in hour number 2. SEC baseball scene setter at 2 o'clock as well. And then David Eckert, who covers Ole Miss for the Jackson Clarion Ledger, is going to join us in 15 minutes to talk about Mike Bianco's Rebels and a little weather update from Oxford. LSU and Ole Miss not going to start tonight until 8:30 p.m. due to weather that's moving into Oxford. Hopefully it'll move out by then, and they can get a clean game in without any interruption. And that is really what LSU wants, as long as Paul Skeens can get his allotted outing in. So that's the update. I want to talk a little LSU baseball before we get to David and talk Ole Miss here in 15 minutes. Just a few talking points and things of note as LSU enters the second half of Southeastern Conference play. Is there any concern on my end that Paul Skeens has been hit a little bit the last 2 weeks? Of course, he gave up the 2 homers against South Carolina in a rain-shortened 3-inning outing in Columbia, and then Kentucky hit him a little bit last week. Over those 2 weeks, Skeens has thrown 9 innings. He's given up 9 hits and 8 runs in 9 innings, 6 of those earned, the 2 homers, 21 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Previous to that, he had given up fewer than 6 runs in the entire season, and he's done that in 2 weeks. So is there some concern? For me, no. And here's why. He's still striking guys out at an elite level. Even though South Carolina hit the 2 home runs, he struck out 8 guys in 3 innings. There's only one out that was put in play. And then last week, well, yeah, Kentucky did hit the ball a little bit, and they did score some runs. LSU hit 2 grand slams in the first 2 innings. They were way out in front. And sometimes it's a little more challenging to pitch in a situation where you've got a huge lead. You're just trying to throw strikes and churn through outs. The strikeout numbers are great, 21 in 9 innings pitched. The walks aren't there, only 1 in those 9 innings. The velocity's still there. He's fine. I don't sense that there's a bunch of LSU fans who are concerned about Paul Skeens. I think everyone's very comfortable with Paul Skeens going out there. But the numbers have looked a little different the last 2 weeks, and so the question can be brought up, okay, is there some sort of issue? My contention would be, no, I think he's just fine. As far as Ty Floyd goes, I went through his SEC outings today and compiled all the statistics and kind of gave an overview of what he has done in Southeastern Conference play. Now, before SEC play, Ty Floyd's numbers were excellent. 16 and 2/3 innings, only 5 hits and 2 earned runs over 16 and 2/3 innings. He struck out 21 and walked 5. Great strikeout to walk ratio, only giving up 2 earned runs in 16 and 2/3 innings. He was excellent in the non-conference. What has he been in league play? Well, A&M knocked him around. They scored 5 runs on 4 hits in 3 1/3 in College Station. They hit it. And then he gave up the home run against Arkansas early, and then he settled in. And in that outing, he was very, very good. 6 1/3 innings against Arkansas, only gave up 1 earned run. That'll work. Struck out 7, walked 2. And since then, a 5-inning outing against Tennessee where he gives up 4 runs on 6 hits. South Carolina, he only makes it through 3 innings. Walked 4 guys, gave up a hit, 4 runs in those 3 innings against South Carolina. That's not very good. And then against Kentucky last week, 4 2/3 innings, 5 runs on 6 hits. So if you put his entire body of work in Southeastern Conference play together, I'll give you the average of them. This is his average start in SEC play. 4 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. It's not like he's getting lit up every time out there, but he hasn't, other than the Arkansas game, thrown a pitch in the 6th inning. He hasn't gone deep into games. He hasn't run up huge strikeout numbers. He hasn't missed a ton of bats in terms of strikeouts. 2 against South Carolina, 2 against Kentucky, 3 against Texas A&M. It's just very average stuff. And Ole Miss's offense is top-heavy. The bottom half has really struggled. I'll get to them in the segment coming up after David, and David will give a little bit more color to that here in 10 minutes. But I'm hoping over the next 5 weeks with, a Mississippi State team that's okay offensively, an Auburn team that's pretty bad offensively, a Georgia team that at times has struggled offensively. They didn't last night, but at times has struggled offensively. Maybe he finds a little bit of a groove. None of these teams are as talented offensively as Arkansas is 1 through 9. I would contend that Tennessee is probably better than most of these teams offensively. Certainly South Carolina is. They look great. Kentucky's scrappy and has been pretty good offensively, statistically speaking. So I'm hoping that this is the start of something a little bit better from Ty Floyd. Now, the defense is another thing that I dug into today because just to my eye, without looking at the stat sheet, just to my eye, LSU's defense has slipped. So the question is, if you go to the numbers, does it look that way statistically? The answer is yes in a big way. Listen to these statistics defensively for LSU. Through 24 games of this season, 24 games, that's a pretty large sample size. LSU had made 8 errors in 24 games. They had played 17 errorless games out of their first 24, and only once in their first 24 games had they made multiple errors in a game. Through 24 games. Over the last 12, so that's half the sample size, over the last 12 games, they've made 16 errors. Remember, just 8 in the first 24. So in half the games, 12, you've made double the errors, 16. In your last 12 games, you've played 1 errorless baseball game. 1 out of the last 12. You did it 17 times in the first 24. And in the last 12 games, they've had 4 multi-error games. only did that once in the first 24 games. They're not playing as well defensively. Tommy White's kicked a few over there. You've had Joe Bear with the misplay down the line and right. You still got pitchers throwing the ball wildly to bases. That happened on Tuesday. It's been something that's happened all year. That doesn't even include, Cruz and Morgan misplaying balls in the gloaming on Tuesday. Those aren't even errors. So they just haven't played as good a defense. That's got to change. You've got to tighten things up defensively, because that's something you could hang your hat on. And if you limit your pitching staff to this point is not pitching well enough for you to give teams extra outs. You got to help them after Skeens. And Skeens will take the help, but he doesn't necessarily need it all the time. He's striking tons of guys out. The other guys need your help defensively. You've got to do more in terms of playing defense. But one of the positives that I want to get to, because the Floyd stuff's not overwhelmingly positive and the error stuff is certainly not positive, but Jordan Thompson has been a positive. He's on a 7-game hit streak right now. Since March the 25th, which is 13 games, he's hitting .340 with 4 homers and 17 driven in. That's excellent over a 13-game span. We know what Cruz is going to give you. We know what White's going to give you. We know what Morgan's going to give you. You got to get Dugas back in the lineup. Beloso's swinging the bat well all year. But if Thompson can emerge to not be the 290 steady piece at the end, but a force in the lineup that's hitting .340, that's driving the ball out of the ballpark, that's driving in runs, that lengthens the best offense in the country. And I think we've paid attention to what Jordan Thompson has done, but I don't know that I've put the actual statistics into words on the show. And he's been very, very good. So that's a welcome addition. This lineup's going to be as good as the ancillary pieces are, as Beloso is, as Thompson is, as whoever's catching is, as Joe Bear is. We know what the top is. I don't have to worry about that. It's not going to dip substantially, and there's not much room to go up from what these guys have done. But the lineup is as good as the ancillary pieces, and it's been very, very good thus far. And Jordan Thompson, over the last 7, has been excellent with a 7-game hit streak and dating back about a month. He's hitting .340 with 4 homers and 17 driven in. That's very, very good stuff. David Eckert is going to join us coming up next. He's with the Jackson Clarion Ledger, covers the Ole Miss Rebels, so we'll chat with him about what the weather looks like in Oxford. I think it's real soggy right now, but they'll get things cranked up at 8:30 this evening, so it's going to be a late night. Grab a pot of coffee or another beverage of your choice, and we'll strap in for some late-night baseball tonight from Swayze. Still think the environment's going to be awesome, so we'll talk to David about it next. I want to remind you all our Friday shows are brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Get on by Cork's today for a late lunch, pick up dinner. It's right there on Government between Foster and Jefferson. It is fantastic. It's from the folks that brought you Couillon's Barbecue. It's a new concept with fried fish, fried shrimp. The recipe born right here in the seafood capital of the world, South Louisiana. The fish is crispy and clean. It's not fishy and muddy like catfish can be. The shrimp are Gulf shrimp. They're huge, and that batter is so, so tasty. I love the new crispy shoestring fries they've got instead of the crinkle cuts. It's fantastic food. Give them a try. Swing on by the drive-thru, or you can dine in their newly redesigned dining room over there on Government Street. It's Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp, bringing you our Friday shows here on the Hunt Palmer Show. We'll take a time out, chat with David Eckert next. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Not a great time to move right now for a lot of people, but that doesn't mean you're stuck with your living situation. You can improve it, and One Bath & Closets can help you do it. David Duvall and his team have been in this business for 3 decades, redesigning and renovating bathrooms and closets. If you need a full-scale bathroom renovation from the floor to the plumbing to the showers, the sinks, the whole deal, David Duvall and his team can do it. Go to onebathandclosets.com and see the work that they've done. See the testimonials and the satisfied customers that they've dealt with over the years here in Baton Rouge. It doesn't have to be a full-scale renovation, though. Maybe it's just a tub-to-shower conversion. They can help you with that as well. And on the closet side, we all would like a little better closet situation, wouldn't we? David Duvall and his team can make it happen. It starts with a questionnaire to understand what you've got, what kind of space you're looking at and working with, and what they can do to customize a closet to your wardrobe. And I can promise you this, they're not going to have it done, come back 2 weeks later because something fell apart because they cut a corner. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. David Duvall and his team over at One Bath & Closets. Find them at onebathandclosets.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I drove myself to the ER, had heart surgery, and drove myself home 24 hours later, feeling fine. Starting running again after the procedure, I'm getting excited thinking about it. I had no pain, nothing. I felt great. And right then and there, I was like, oh my God, I'm back. I'm back. It's just amazing.
Ochsner Health. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green. This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial... Jimmy Ott and Charles Hanniger for the Monday edition of Game Time. We're live at Finbom on Burbank and Lee, right next to Rouse's. Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. Monday from Finbom on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Tigers and Rebels tonight. Pushed back just a little bit. 8:30 first pitch from Swayze Field up there in Oxford, and that's where we'll head right now. David Eckert covers the Rebels for the Jackson Clarion Ledger. David, thanks for your time. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Doing very well. I see on your bio that you were on the Southern Miss beat, and I guess that would be last year when LSU went up there for a regional, and then obviously Ole Miss came in for the Super, which the Rebels won. What was that 2 weeks like for the Southern Miss fan base to have those two brands from right down the street kind of come into Hattiesburg?
Chaotic.
Yeah.
But no, it was actually, that was right when I had just started. So it was wild, right? I mean, especially the way that the regional played out.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sure your listeners know by now, but, you know, you have this exhilarating high of, I guess, overcoming that just brutal loss to LSU. You win a regional, I think the second time ever. And then, you know, the folks from up north come in and they really don't care too much for Ole Miss down there, and it was not as joyful the following week. So definitely a roller coaster.
Were you surprised the Super went the way that it did? Having watched Ole Miss all year and then watched Southern Miss for that regional, I figured that Southern Miss pitching staff would hold up a little better. Now, with hindsight, we know that Ole Miss was just white hot and was going to be that way for the next 2 weeks. But I thought Southern Miss would win that Super.
Yeah, I think my prediction at the time, I picked Southern Miss. I think they had the better regular season. And again, that, as you mentioned, that pitching staff was about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And I mean, they didn't score a run, right? Like they got shut out in both games. So, they definitely weren't like a super prolific lineup, but I mean, that Ole Miss pitching staff for most of the season had kind of struggled. So that was a big surprise too.
I thought so. Well, let's shift gears to this year. Obviously, Ole Miss not having the season that they would have anticipated. You have the injury to Hunter Elliott, and then you look up all of a sudden at the halfway point, 3-12 in league play. If you were to kind of summarize the Ole Miss fan base's general demeanor right now, is it still fine because we won a title? Is it, oh my God, was that just a fluke that we got hot for 3 weeks? Or, is it, hey, we can still get hot again because we did it last year?
I think there's a mix of probably the first two. I don't know if there's a whole lot of optimism floating around, to be totally honest with you.
Okay.
But it's, like if you read anything on Twitter that's, talking smack against Ole Miss or whatever, hey, we're the national champions, right? You're going to see a ton of that. But, there is some frustration, right? Just because, as you mentioned, the last 2 seasons, really outside of those 4 weeks, and those 4 weeks matter more than anything that could possibly compare, don't get me wrong, there hasn't been a whole lot of good baseball. So I do think there is a little bit of building frustration. And they have had some bad luck this year, particularly as it relates to their arms, right? You touched on Hunter Elliott. Their bullpen is just decimated by injuries, too. So, there has been some things that they can't control. But definitely some frustration for sure.
So you mentioned Elliott, and he's slated to start in the game tomorrow. What can you expect to see from him realistically tomorrow?
Yeah, I'd be very, very surprised if, he goes more than 3 innings, right? Maybe like 40 pitches. Mike Bianco hasn't exactly laid out his plan for us, but in fact, he was kind of playing coy on whether he would start at all or come out of the pen. But I don't expect to see him go very deep into that game at all.
So with that news that Elliott's going into the rotation, it also coincides with the fact that Jack Doherty, who's been pitching in game 1s for Ole Miss, moves back to the bullpen where he's excelled in his career. Is that kind of a situation where as soon as Ole Miss gets a lead in the middle innings, you would expect to see Doherty for 3 or 4 innings to try to nail it down?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm wondering, to be honest, if the idea is they're just going to back Elliott up with Doherty.
Okay.
Just because that would make sense, right? Doherty's stretched out. He can give you some depth that maybe Elliott can't. Normally, I would say you're right. Absolutely, he's the shutdown guy. He's the dude. The instant they feel like it's time to shut it down, he's going to be in the game. But I'm wondering this weekend specifically if he might just have a very specific job. And they left that Sunday spot open. I don't know if that's a little bit of misdirection or what, because that's been JT Quinn for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and he's been pretty good lately. So I don't think he's done anything to lose that spot. So we'll see what they do.
Xavier Rivas tonight, the big left-hander, has been okay for the Rebels. What have you seen, and what can LSU fans expect to see from their starter tonight?
Yeah, just that. I mean, he's fine, right? He's not going to overpower you. His control has gotten much better. That was a problem for him earlier in the season. He's actually been better against the SEC teams than he was against like the Delawares, Purdue's of the world, which is a little surprising. And I think that's because he's figured out his control a little bit. Yeah, slider, nice slider. Works in a changeup a little bit. 91, 92 on the fastball. He's going to hit his spots. He's been, he's given them some depth. He's not going to lose this game for Ole Miss. That's kind of where he's at right now.
Let's talk about this Ole Miss offense, which has 5 guys back from a national championship lineup, but they just I don't know, they put it quite together just yet to be the kind of dynamic offense that I thought that they might be. Who's got to spearhead this thing for the Rebels?
Yeah, I mean, you look at guys like Kemp Alderman is obviously the first guy, most people will point to. He's having a great season. Just ton of power, hits the ball to all fields, professional hitter. Jacob Gonzalez, going to be a first-round pick this summer. Kind of same thing. Calvin Harris, really professional, just sprays the ball all around the field. He hits a ton of doubles. But really the problem for them is they're not getting anything out of the bottom of their lineup.
Yeah.
Right? 1 through 5 has been good, maybe even really good. But, the TJ McCann, Peyton Chatinier, the DH spot in general, they're just really not getting anything from those guys. And I think that if Ole Miss is going to get this turned around, they're going to have to heat up a little bit.
I mean, some of the numbers for like Chatinier is just really fighting it big time. I saw he got a hit against Mississippi State and was just elated at first base, which I get it. You're in a slump that bad. You just celebrate anything you can get. But, that's a guy that has been a decent hitter in his Ole Miss career. I'm curious, David, what kind of environment you expect for this weekend. I know there's a huge concert in town, and it should bring some people into Oxford, but a late night start tonight, a team that's 3-12. Do you still think that place will be as good as it can be?
Yeah, I don't know about tonight. I think the weather might turn some folks off as well. But certainly this weekend, I would expect big crowds. I think it'll be a really fun college baseball atmosphere. It obviously, right, the more they win, the more people are going to come. But as you mentioned, big concert weekend, people just looking for something to do when it's nice out. I mean, I'd be surprised if they don't have some nice crowds.
Is it do or die for Ole Miss this weekend? I know that their schedule is so front-loaded, and this is kind of the end of that, but it feels like the way the math works out that they've probably got to get it done this weekend with 2 out of 3, or else it's going to be almost impossible to get into the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of depends what do you mean by do or die. If you're talking about an at-large bid, sure. I think, to an extent, the conversation has kind of changed into making the SEC tournament, which is crazy, and probably not do or die for that. But yeah, if you want to get into a regional with an at-large bid, probably need to take this serious.
What has Mike Bianco's demeanor been this year?
I would say, he's not happy.
Right.
Right? He's a little frustrated, you can tell. Right? But I think he's handled it pretty well, to be honest. There hasn't been any outbursts. He's said all of the right things, but when you talk to him and, just after games and you just kind of look at it, you can tell that he's feeling it, right? He's not used to this. For all the criticism that there was of him last year before they did the thing, right? He's never really had this, so this is new for him. And you can definitely tell he's feeling it for sure.
He's David Eckert. He covers the Ole Miss for the Jackson Clarion Ledger. Appreciate your time. Enjoy the baseball this weekend.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Enjoy our conversation there with David. Does a great job covering the Rebs for the Jackson newspaper. It'll be a late night for those folks tonight, and if there's one deadline for a print edition, it's going to be a real late night for them. But should be interesting to see LSU and Ole Miss this weekend. I kind of do think that it's do or die for the Rebels this weekend. So when we come back, I'll give you kind of my thoughts on the series as a whole and give you a prediction for the weekend. That's next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal. They're elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana. Dr. Robert Jackson is our champion here in April. Dr. Jackson founded the MLK Health Center and Pharmacy in Shreveport, and it's Northwest Louisiana's oldest free clinic and pharmacy. The clinic provides over $16 million in services to over 1,700 patients every single year. It operates at no expense to the patient, returns an average of $25 to the community for every $1 that's invested in the center. Whether it's in North Louisiana, my neck of the woods in Shreveport, South Louisiana, where we do the show every day, if you know of someone like Dr. Jackson who is a champion of Louisiana doing great philanthropic work in our state, we want to tell their story, and LWCC gives us the platform to do that. So go to lwcc.com/champions, and you can nominate a nonprofit, a person, a business to be a champion of Louisiana so that we can tell their story. Dr. Robert Jackson is April's champion of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $15,000 off all new 2022 1500 SCA trucks. And all new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back. Join us on Saturday, April 22nd at the Ochsner Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown presented by Ochsner. Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Ford has $2,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% APR for 84 months on new 22 Ford Expedition.
Brian Kelly and the LSU Tigers wrap up spring practice with the 2023 National L Club Spring Game. Our coverage starts Saturday at 1 p.m. right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, thanks to David Eckert for jumping on from Oxford, Mississippi. LSU and Ole Miss tonight, game one, 8:30 first pitch. Been pushed back because of weather in the Oxford area. Weather also impacted the Zurich, but they're going to crank things back up in round two in about 10 minutes from Avondale. Let's give you my preview of Ole Miss. I've watched the Rebels a lot this year. I watched them a lot early in the season, and I've caught a good portion of of some of their other weekend games. I've seen some YouTube highlights as well, and so I've got a pretty good feel for what Ole Miss is at this point. And statistically, they're 21-16. They're 3-12 in the league. You know that by now. They're in last place in the SEC. They were swept at Vanderbilt. They got swept in their own park by Florida. They lost 2 out of 3 to A&M. They lost 2 out of 3 to Arkansas. They lost 2 out of 3 at Mississippi State last weekend. So they have not won a weekend yet, and they've really been scuffling. Offensively, when I looked at this team, I said, man, they're going to be really, really good. And it's not like they've been terrible on offense. In terms of the Southeastern Conference, they're 6th in the conference in batting average. They're 7th in slugging. They're 9th in home runs. They're 11th in runs, 12th in on-base percentage, 13th in walks. They're middle of the pack in some and towards the bottom in some others. They got absolutely worked by Vanderbilt's pitching staff in the conference opening weekend. They scored 4 runs total in 3 games. Since that series, in SEC games, they're averaging about 5.75 runs per game. It's decent. And as you heard David say in the last segment, their meat of their order is literally as good as anyone's in the SEC. I would put Jacob Gonzalez, Calvin Harris, and Kemp Alderman up against any 3 in the SEC. That includes LSU with White, Cruz, and probably Dugas and maybe Morgan. And LSU's would be a tick better, but not appreciably. Jacob Gonzalez is going to go in the first 8 picks in the draft. He's phenomenal. He's hitting .339 in league play with 4 homers and 8 doubles. For the season, if you look at his statistics, he's hitting .338 with 7 homers. He's left-handed. He hits the ball to all fields. He's got power. He's a great shortstop. He's a star. Absolutely legit. Kemp Alderman on the season's hitting .356 with 15 home runs. He's a great hitter with a lot of slug to him. And then you look at Calvin Harris, who's hitting .322 on the year. He's not necessarily a big home run threat, but he's a really solid bat. Ethan Groff last year hit .400 for Tulane, and to this point, he hasn't been quite that good for Ole Miss. He's hitting .274 overall, but he is hitting .329 in league play, so he's been better. The top half of the lineup is very, very good. The bottom half stinks on ice. They can't do anything at the bottom of the order. Peyton Chatagnier, bless his heart, he started for a national championship team. In Southeastern Conference play this year, he's hitting a robust .098. He's 5 for 51. TJ McCants started on a national championship team. He's hitting .160 in league play. He's 8 out of 50. They're doing nothing at the bottom half. No slug, no walks, no on base. It's a black hole down there. And that is going to cost you 3 to 4 innings a game. That's half the game. You just can't rely on 5 guys to do everything for your team, and that's where they are right now. They don't steal bases. TJ McCants is the only guy that steals bases. He's 6 out of 6 in league play. But again, he's hitting .160, so how often is he on base? None of the other guys really run. So it's just an offense that hasn't filled out. You expect certainly your guys that started last year, Chatagnier and McCants, those guys to progress, and then you would expect some of these guys they've added in to be sticks, and they just haven't really been. But the offense at the top is scary, and they'll hit you. Now, as far as the mound goes, we know the story with Hunter Elliott, and that he came in last year right before the LSU series as a true freshman, and they found it. I distinctly remember, as I said yesterday on this show, listening to Chase Parham, who does an awesome job covering Ole Miss for Rivals, telling Matt Moscona on Matt's show right before the LSU Ole Miss weekend that, hey, they're not playing very well. They're, have a losing record in league play, and Mike's really got one more button to push. He's going to throw Dylan DeLucia, a JUCO transfer, and Hunter Elliott, the freshman, into the weekend rotation this weekend. They'll see if that gets anything, makes it any better. Well, I think we know the end of that story. Those 2 guys were stars. Hunter Elliott last year against Southern Miss in the Super went 7 1/3 shutout against Southern Miss to clinch it. He also started the clincher in Omaha to win the national championship over Oklahoma. He was sensational as a freshman. Came back, started the first weekend on Sunday, didn't feel great, got some MRIs, UCL strain. So he hasn't pitched since the first weekend. We're now in week 11. So he's 10 weeks off. You can't expect a ton from him tomorrow, but he will pitch, and it should give them a little morale boost. And then the question becomes, what is Jack Doherty's role? If you've listened to me or paid attention to the SEC, you know that Jack Doherty is a bullpen ace, very much in the mold of Hagen Smith at Arkansas, a guy that can go multiple innings in a game where you've got the lead and nail it down. He can take over in the 7th, get you 9 outs, and win a game. That's what Hagen Smith has been asked to do more often than not for Arkansas. That's what Jack Doherty's role was supposed to be for Ole Miss this year. Well, Elliott goes out, and Mike Bianco plugged him into the Friday role. And he wasn't awful, but he's not a Friday guy. And more often than not, when you ask a 2 to 3 inning reliever to go try to get you 5 or 6, it catches up to him. And it has. It has caught up to Jack Doherty more often than not. His numbers thus far are not great in SEC play. His ERA is 6.48. When you're going against other aces, that's not going to get it done. But Doherty's not in the weekend rotation now. So the question is, do you see Jack Doherty the first time Ole Miss has a lead in the middle innings? Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow? Do you see him just solely relieving Hunter Elliott because you know he's only going to give you 3 innings? I don't know. If LSU takes control of both of these games, do you start him on Sunday in the TBA spot because he's stretched out, can start, and is probably your best available option? I don't know. How Mike Bianco deploys Jack Doherty this weekend is going to be interesting because don't let the numbers be deceived you. If he walks out there and you see his ERA in SEC play is 6.48 and go, well, we're going to light this guy up, he's pretty good. His fastball is 93, 94. He's got a really good breaking ball. He's just not built to get you out, to get through the lineup 3 times. This is not his role. So when you take Elliott and put him on Saturday and you take Doherty out of the weekend rotation, you go, okay, well, who are you going to start on Friday against Skeens? And the answer to that is Xavier Rivas. He's a big 6'4 left-hander, 225 pounds, went to Indianapolis last year, transferred in. Big boy. 90 to 92 mile an hour fastball, a low 80s slider. His best outing of the year was against Arkansas. He went 6 innings in that one, gave up 2 runs on 5 hits, struck out 7, walked 4. He's given up multiple runs in every SEC appearance thus far. He started all 5 weekends. He's given up multiple runs in every start. But he's a solid option for them, not necessarily in the mold of an SEC ace. And they're certainly on the back end of this thing when you look at the matchup with Skeens. But here's me putting all this together and looking at this series. And keep in mind, last week I looked at Kentucky. I looked at their statistics. I looked at their pitching. I looked at all the highlights. I've seen them a few times. And I came on this show on Thursday before I left on Friday, and I said, look, LSU is going to light up. This is the exact quote. They're going to light up Kentucky's pitching staff like a freaking Christmas tree, and LSU is going to sweep this Kentucky team. And that looked pretty good through 2 innings. On Thursday, you hit 2 grand slams, you had a monster lead, and you run-ruled them 16-6 on Thursday. But then LSU's pitching staff didn't do a good enough job on Friday and Saturday to get the job done. The bats were still fine. They still hit Kentucky all over the place. There was a little lull in Game 3, but it's not like you're going to score in every inning for 3 games. But there was a lull there, and the pitching didn't step up against Kentucky's offense. And that's kind of where LSU is right now. They're in a spot where they're winning their weekends, but they're not playing great enough to sweep a series. They're letting A&M off the hook in the 8th inning in College Station. They can't get it out with your starting pitcher in Game 3 against Tennessee when you're going for a sweep. The bullpen lets you down in a game against Kentucky, and you lose. So does the defense. They're not playing clean enough to sweep series. And the pitching is a little bit of a question mark. So here's where I am with this LSU Ole Miss series. I think the environment's going to be very good. Ole Miss fans do not like LSU. They know that their team is on its last leg. And to some people, this won't mean anything, but I'm telling you, Morgan Wallen, who is maybe the biggest country music star in the world, him or Luke Combs, one or two, take your pick, is playing a couple of shows in Oxford this weekend. That is going to bring a ton of people to Oxford, Mississippi. It's not Garth Brooks in Tiger Stadium, but it's Diet Garth Brooks in Tiger Stadium. So if you're an Ole Miss fan that's in Jackson or in Memphis or in, Tupelo or in Birmingham or wherever you may live, this would be the weekend you would go in. You can catch a couple of games. You can go see the concert. You got to have a reason to go to Oxford. Well, not a lot of people live there. This is a reason. It's going to be full, and it's going to be loud, and it's going to be rambunctious. I think it's going to be a really good atmosphere. And LSU should win the game tonight with Paul Skeens going against Xavier Rivas. But I'm concerned about LSU's pitching staff against this Ole Miss lineup. When you get past Skeens, I'm concerned. And LSU's defense has not played very well. And Ole Miss is desperate, and I don't think they're going to lose 10 weekends in a row. So you can see where I'm going here. It will not surprise me at all if Ole Miss takes this series. And I'm picking Ole Miss to beat LSU 2 out of 3 this weekend. You can say that sounds crazy. They're 3-12. They got swept by Florida. They can't beat Mississippi State last weekend. That's nuts. I'm just telling you. I think it's going to be loud. I think they're going to hit some home runs. And LSU right now is just not playing its best baseball. This offense that you're leaning on to take up for your pitching last week against Kentucky, even sometimes against A&M, that offense you've been leaning on, Gavin Dugas may not be full go this weekend. Paxton Kling is not playing. Brady Neal's not in there. So you're not whole. I don't want you to misunderstand me and think that I've given up on this LSU baseball team. They can't play defense. The pitching staff stinks. That's not where I am at all. I think LSU is really good and has every opportunity to win the national championship. I just don't love this weekend. On the road, banged up, team that's desperate. Their ace is coming back for a little emotional support in a couple innings. Big weekend in Oxford. It just feels to me like LSU may hit a bump in the road. I love LSU next week against Bama, who I think stinks. And I think LSU will be fine next week, and I think they're fine anyway. But right now, I think that LSU is maybe up against it this weekend. We'll see. If I've got to eat some crow with a smile on my face on Monday, I'll be here with bells on, shoveling that crow home. Just give me seconds of the crow if LSU goes up there and sweeps Ole Miss. I'll be thrilled. But I'm here to give you my opinion, and I think I've spelled it out reasonably. I think that we'll see. LSU needs to win tonight. I'll tell you that. You need to win with Skeens against Rivas. You're much the better in that situation. You got to go out there and get it done. Do that, then you got to split the last two, and I think you're fine. You could be okay. But we'll see. LSU's got to go out there and do it. So Tigers and Ole Miss tonight at 8:30 from Oxford, Mississippi. We'll take a timeout. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Stop in for a late lunch or pick up dinner on that drive-thru. I went through the drive-thru a couple weeks ago. Really efficient. Got to go out there, taking your order, taking credit cards. You just drive through. They hand you the bag out the window, and you are on your way. Love the folks over there at Cork's bringing you our Friday shows. Rule change in college football. I'll tell you about it next. Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green. This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level.
Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call Hudco Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere,
On Mondays, OTB. How did LSU baseball fare in their showdown with the defending national champs? Plus, the biggest takeaways from the LSU spring game. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Matt Show will follow us here in an hour and some change. He's down at the Zurich in Avondale. They have restarted play here in the second round, and wouldn't you look at that? One of the picks I gave you on Wednesday in my gambling picks is atop the leaderboard. That is Wyndham Clark and Bo Hostler. They are 4 under today after a 61 yesterday. The round of the day by a long shot is the defending champs, Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay, who candidly were terrible yesterday. They shot 67 best ball. They made 3 bogeys, which is impossible in a best ball format with players that good. But today, they lit it on fire. They shot a 30 on the front side, 6 under, best in the history of the tournament, made a birdie on their 10th hole of the day, and they are 9 under on their round today as they play their 17th hole. So they are 1 shot off the lead. Luke List and Henrik Norlander are at 13 under. And yet to start are some of the teams that played really well yesterday, including the Fitzpatrick brothers, as well as Sahith Sagala and Justin Suh. So Matt will be coming to you from the Zurich down there for After Further Review. Rule change in college football, as we expected, was announced today, and it deals with clock stoppages. There are 3 rules that have been implemented as of today. 1, you cannot call consecutive timeouts. That is not allowed. Sometimes that happens with confusion late in the game, and sometimes it's just an icing the kicker thing. So now you have to make your decision in icing a kicker whether or not you want to call the timeout, because if you do call the timeout and ice the kicker, they now know you can't call it again. So you can mentally kind of set yourself up. If you want to play the mind games and kind of act like you're going to call a timeout and then not, that might be a little bit more effective strategy, kind of get into the kicker's head. But no consecutive timeouts will be allowed. There will be no untimed down if there's a penalty at the end of the first or third quarter. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know why we need an untimed down in the first or third quarter. Just go to the other side of the field and keep playing football. That works for me. It is fine. The biggest one is no stoppage of the clock on first downs unless you're inside of 2 minutes and a half. So if you're in a 2-minute situation, you've got the ball, you will get clock stoppages inside the last 2 minutes for a first down. Otherwise, not. And this is all part of what's going on in the sports world now, which is we got to get these games over far more quickly. And there's a loud contingency of people that want these games to move far more quickly. There are some that I work with. Charles Handegriff and Matt Moscona want the games to go more quickly. I don't care. I don't have any problem with the length of the games, and I'm the post-game show host. I'm not Charlie's post-game that goes after mine and is even later than me. But on my Saturdays in the fall, I'm doing LSU stuff. I guess that changes a little bit when the Myers man grows up and we got to do some youth sports and whatever. But I don't care about traffic. I don't care about how long the game takes. I'm not inconvenienced by it. Same thing with Major League Baseball and the pitch clock. The 3.5-hour game was fine with me as it was. Same with LSU. I don't care. But I'm not angry about it. It's fine. If we got to move things along, we got to move things along. And I think there's a large contingency of people that want this to happen. And if that's what you want, great. But it is going to move the game more quickly. That is that significantly lengthens thing. And the NFL games are shorter. They're done. Those noon games are pretty much done by 3:30. And college games are not. So that's going to be the rule situation. It's just like the pitch clock in Major League Baseball. I don't care. Just tell me what the rules are. Let's go do it. I don't think it appreciably changes the game. I struggled to come up with some sort of style of play that was going to be hampered by this. I think if you're a great offensive team, you're still going to score a lot of points. If you're a great defensive team, there are going to be fewer plays, I guess. But I think it's fine. If you have a strong opinion on it, God bless you. I hope it's positive. But I'm not too concerned with it. I know a lot of people were irritated. But a lot of the television stuff with CBS, which we're not going to be dealing with after this year. So there are your rule changes. No consecutive timeouts. No untimed downs at the end of the first or third quarters. And the clock will run after first downs in college football, except in the last 2 minutes, which I think you do need because college teams just don't run the 2-minute drill nearly as efficiently as Brady and Breeze and Rodgers and those guys do. Those guys are so comfortable. And when was the last time Drew Brees didn't score inside 2 minutes? They were just going to go down and get it done. College kids aren't as good at it. So if we're going to give the offensive team a chance, we probably need to stop the clock a little bit, and I guess they certainly will. Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Not just fish and shrimp. They got your loaded baked potato that's topped with crawfish etouffee and jumbo Gulf shrimp that are fried right on top of it. That is some kind of good over there at Cork's. They're on Government between Foster and Jefferson. Give them a try this weekend. It's from the same folks that brought you Kuyon's Barbecue. Great first hour. Talked LSU baseball in the first segment. David Eckert from the Jackson Clarion Ledger came on to preview Ole Miss. I previewed LSU and Ole Miss at 1:30 and picked the Rebs to win 2 out of 3. I think that may come as a shock to some people or just a stupid pick to some people. We'll see. I'm hoping it's really stupid. But that's my prediction. And a little college football rule changes there at the end of hour number 1. If you missed it, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab. All of our shows uploaded daily, all the sound right there on 1045ESPN.com. Or if you're a Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast person, we're there too. Just search The Hunt Palmer Show. You can find it all there. Any likes, subscriptions, ratings, or reviews, always appreciated. You can find us on YouTube each and every day as well. Thanks to those of you all hanging out in the Bayou Ford chat. We'll set the scene for SEC baseball weekend in hour number 2. Give you some thoughts on the spring game and Shay Dixon talking the recruiting aspect of this weekend for LSU football, which is a big deal, coming up at 2:30. We'll break for SportsCenter. We'll come back with hour number 2, the last hour of the week here, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
Bayou Ford has $2,000 off MSRP, plus 2.9% APR for 84 months on new 22 Ford Expeditions. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TD to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back. Join us on Saturday, April 22nd at the Ochsner Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and Joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks, Jambalaya Showdown, presented by Oshner. Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. 3 NBA playoff games, all on the family of networks tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN. Celtics and Hawks Game 3. That'll be followed by Nuggets and Timberwolves Game 3. Boston and Denver both lead 2-0. At 8:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ABC, Cavaliers and Knicks Game 3 with the series tied. The Raptors fire head coach Nick Nurse, who had 1 year to go on his contract. ESPN's Tim Bontemps.
I think this just sort of felt like it was time for everybody to part ways and start fresh. The Raptors have been one of the best organizations in the league for a long time. Masai and Bobby Webster, one of the best front offices. They've had a ton of success. Nick Nurse, I suspect, will be a coach somewhere else fairly soon.
Tim Bontemps. Nurse coached Toronto for 5 seasons, winning the NBA title in his first year, 2019. 5 NFL players get suspensions for violating the league's gambling policy. 3 of them, Lions wideout Quintez Cephas and safety C.J. Moore, along with Commanders defensive lineman Shaka Toney, are all suspended indefinitely and will be out at least a year.
Coming up Monday, it's the week of the draft. I'll tell you which teams that we aren't quite talking about should consider taking a quarterback. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, Monday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Man, the weekend is close. 2 o'clock here in the capital city on a Friday. Hunt Palmer Show coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. 1 hour left for us before we hand things off to Matt Moscona, who is down at the Cirque. I'm going to give you a lot of football here in the middle of this hour. My spring game thoughts coming up in 15 minutes, and then Shay Dixon. We'll talk some spring game and then some recruiting. A huge visitor, Colin Simmons, coming in this weekend. We'll get Shay's thoughts on that, top 5 player in the nation. This is a big recruiting weekend for LSU, so we'll get Shay's thoughts on it at the bottom of this hour. But I do want to set the scene for SEC baseball coming up this weekend. Saw 2 games last night that were very, very interesting in different ways. Georgia gets 5 in the 3rd inning off Hunter Holland, and they beat Arkansas 6-5 in game 1 of that series. My SEC Power Rankings earlier this week, I had Georgia as the worst team in the league. They come out, get a big 3-run homer in the 5th, and they beat Arkansas, who scrapped back late. They got a run in the 8th and a run in the 9th, but couldn't close the gap all the way. Arkansas loses, so it's good news for LSU, who's looking up at Arkansas in the Southeastern Conference standings. We'll see game 2 of that series later tonight. And then kind of the more headlining game of the night last night was South Carolina and Florida. And you would look at this game and you would say, at the score, and you would go, oh my God, South Carolina just mauled them. What's going on with Brandon Sproat? It wasn't quite like that. It was really a competitive game. South Carolina and Florida were tied at 3, headed to the bottom of the 6th inning. Sproat was throwing okay, and I thought Will Sanders was really good. And then South Carolina just broke loose on the Florida bullpen. They scored 5 runs in the 6th and 5 runs in the 7th to run rule the Florida Gators. 13-3 was the final. South Carolina beats Florida. Will Sanders is kind of finding it. You saw it in the 3 innings he pitched against LSU before the rain came against Skeens, and he was great again last night. He's a big dude. He's emotional. He needs a little bit longer pants to cover the knees, in my opinion. But hey, he's doing his thing. He had 10 strikeouts last night against Florida, and South Carolina is no joke. Petrie, no joke. We got plenty of him that weekend in South Carolina, and we only played 2 games. He hit a bomb off Sproat last night. He's special. I mean, real special as a freshman. And South Carolina is playing with confidence. They're playing with an edge. They played LSU heads up. They lost the series to Vanderbilt, but they were competitive, and they just boat raced Florida for 2 innings last night and put that one in the win column. That was impressive. In Florida, their schedule has not been great to this point. I will admit that, even though I've put them atop the SEC Power Rankings the last couple of weeks. But, you know, I figured they're still good, and last night for 2 innings, they were not, and South Carolina takes game 1 of that series. We'll see if Hurston Waldrop can equalize things for Florida coming up tonight. The rest of the weekend on tap, Texas A&M is at Kentucky. I claimed on Tuesday that Kentucky would lose the rest of their weekends. That's probably a bold statement that won't come true, but it's certainly plausible with the series that they've got. A&M's won 3 in a row, but if you listen to our interview last week or yesterday with Joe Healy, they still haven't figured anything out on the mound. They used 2 openers last weekend. They're throwing guys out there for an inning or 2 to try to get into a game. After Nathan Detmer, there's just nothing there. They got to swing the bats. So we'll see. A&M is at Kentucky this weekend. I've got the Aggies winning a couple there. Huge, huge, huge weekend in Knoxville for both teams, really. Vanderbilt looking to be a national seed, looking to win the SEC, looking to be the number 1 team in the country potentially if LSU should falter at some point. They're headed to Knoxville. In-state rivalry, 2 schools that do not like each other. Generally speaking, Tennessee should control things on the football side. But in baseball, that's kind of been Vandy's territory, and Tennessee's trying to infringe upon it. And these 2 schools do not like each other at all. It's going to be testy in Knoxville this weekend. Tennessee's 5-10. They're going to have to go 8-7 the rest of the way to make the tournament. To make the tournament, they got to play over 500 baseball. Got to start this weekend, you would think. The Vols, with their pitching rotation, still going to go with Andrew Lindsey in Game 1. And then they'll go to Chase Dolander in Game 2 and Drew Beam on Sunday. That means Chase Burns coming out of the bullpen for Tennessee now. He can be kind of an X factor. He's been beat up this year. They've hit him all over the place. Everybody has. But the slider's still good. And if you only see it once, and maybe it's 3 innings instead of a potential 7, he can be a factor. Vanderbilt, their offense was maligned a little bit in February and early March. Thought, okay, the staff's good, but can they hit? In conference games, they lead the SEC in batting average. That's loud when you can roll that rotation out there. Now, Holton wasn't great last week. We'll see what he's got this week. But that's a big one. I like Tennessee at home to find a way to get 2. If they don't, man, it gets tough. The Vols lose 2 out of 3. You're sitting there at 6-12. That's a tall order. Ole Miss last year was 7-11. It can happen, but it's got to turn on quick at some point for the Vols. Mississippi State's at Auburn. Both these teams are 5-10. LSU still got to play both of them. Mississippi State might be finding something. They've won a couple of weekends in a row. And for Auburn, Joseph Gonzalez he threw a bullpen yesterday. I got no report on how it went, but he's supposed to be kind of their veteran presence in the rotation. And he hasn't been there all year. So when they get him back, maybe that helps things. The loser of this weekend between Mississippi State and Auburn is going to have to play over 500 baseball the rest of the way to make the NCAA tournament. You're talking about a Mississippi State team that is trying to claw its way out of this disaster that's been since their national championship. Last year was terrible. This year's been bad. They're trying to climb out of it. You need to get to the postseason. And Auburn was in Omaha last year. Have been in Omaha 2 of the last 3 times they've played a College World Series. And you're looking at not making the tournament if you don't turn it around. So it's not a sexy matchup. It's not a matchup that I'll probably watch very much of, but it's a big one for those 2 schools, those 2 teams, as they sit there at 5-10, both with LSU to play later in their schedule, trying to get to the NCAA tournament. And the last one is Bama and Missouri. Bama's 6-9 in the league. Missouri is 5-10. We talked yesterday to Joe Healy kind of about the situation with Alabama right now. And they had a nice pre-conference before Columbia, and they've been good in the midweek. But they can't win weekends in the SEC. They're not getting swept, but they're limping along. And now the top 2 guys in their rotation, in Hess and Hitt, are both out. And Hitt's going to miss the rest of the year. So we'll see if Hess comes back. But right now they're without their top 2 guys, and one's done. So enter Garrett McMillan, who was their Friday guy last year, who throws 96 miles an hour and is a big dude, and he's real fiery, and he's back in action, and he pitched pretty good last weekend. They're going to trot him out there again this weekend to see if maybe he can't become a frontline pitcher for them, because they haven't really had that. Missouri's a pretty good place to start. They can't score. So, big weekend for both. If you're Alabama and you want to take yourself seriously as a team that could get to a regional and do some damage and maybe get into a super, you need to beat Missouri. I get it if you lose to Florida. That's understandable. You couldn't get it done against Kentucky. Okay. You couldn't beat Arkansas 2 out of 3. You got 1. You couldn't get. Okay. You need to beat Missouri. That's how that works. So that's your SEC weekend. It's Georgia at Arkansas. It's South Carolina hosting Florida. A&M's at Kentucky. Vanderbilt is at Tennessee. Mississippi State is at Auburn, and Bama is at Ole Miss. Monday shows brought to you, or Friday shows. It is not Monday, thankfully. Friday shows brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. If you're South Louisiana native and you're here and you're thinking, I'm not going through a drive-through to get my fried seafood, just go to Cork's once. I'm telling you. This is high quality stuff at a quick service restaurant. The fish is crispy and flavorful. The shrimp are huge right here from the Gulf. The baked potato with the crawfish etouffee and fried shrimp on top is awesome. French fries are crispy, even to go. It's a really positive dining experience. And if you're looking for some catering, whether it's your business or a tailgate for a baseball game or birthday party, you need some catering, Corks can help you out. It's the folks that brought you Kuyon's Barbecue. They're on Government Street, right between Jefferson and Foster. Give them a try. Drive on through today or this weekend and get some Corks Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. 20 minutes out from Shay Dixon giving us a recruiting update on this weekend, but I'll give you some of my thoughts on the spring game tomorrow next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TB to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back.
Join us on Saturday, April 22nd
at the Ochsner Medical Complex at the Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown presented by Ochsner.
Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hannigriff join us for the Monday edition of Hanny Time. We'll take a look back at the LSU spring game and LSU's three-game set with Ole Miss in Oxford. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You know what makes my Fridays better? When the Cubs hit back-to-back homers right in front of me during a commercial break. That we like. Cody Bellinger, tank. Trey Mancini, tank. We like that. And you know what doesn't make my Friday better? Well, I guess it does make it a little bit better, but it puzzles me. Jacob Beck has been sitting in this producer chair all week. He shows up today with a Cubs shirt on. It's like, hey, Beck, I like that shirt. He goes, yeah, I guess I should have told you I'm a Cubs fan. How has this detail not been provided to me since you've been sitting here all week?
Honestly, I don't know how I didn't think about mentioning it. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know? That's not a good enough reason.
You're right.
This is a court of law here.
It's a terrible reason, in fact.
Well, I appreciate that, and maybe we can talk about the Cubs every once in a while. Because they're playing great baseball right now.
They are.
Except for last night when they let things get away in the 8th inning with a grand slam, and I slammed my computer shut right when the grand slam hit the it was the 9th inning, actually. When the grand slam went out, Dodgers hit, slammed my computer shut, went to bed, woke up this morning, opened the laptop to start working, and I've got the Grand Slam right in my face because I shut the computer right when that happened.
1 of 162.
Yeah, not a great way to start my Friday. But this has been a good midpoint of my Friday as the Cubs are in control of the Dodgers 5-0. All right, let's talk some spring game. LSU spring game tomorrow. Incidentally, we'll have it on our airwaves here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hester will be out there on the call doing sideline stuff. Look, I'm not going to try to overly promote this spring game. Here's the deal. If you want to go out there and watch LSU play a little football inside Tiger Stadium, that's awesome. And I think the weather's supposed to be good. Joe Burrow's going to be there, which is fantastic. And it's a big recruiting weekend for the program, so it's a big deal in that regard. I don't know how much information there is going to be gleaned out of this because LSU doesn't have enough players to put together a functional scrimmage. But it's a chance to get inside Tiger Stadium, which you don't get to do very much outside the fall, and I'm all for people that want to go out there and check it out. I'll give you a few things that I'm kind of looking for on Saturday. So, Trey Holly is a new back. He's a freshman. He's short and speedy, and he's gotten a ton of reps in this spring because John Emery's not out there. Armani Goodwin is hurt, and it's basically Noah Cain and Trey Holly. So you're going to get to see him a little bit on Saturday. And we'll see just how talented he is. Highlight tape's good. He was a reasonably highly rated recruit. And he's going to get the ball a little bit. So I'm excited to watch Trey Holly run a little bit because I'm underwhelmed at LSU's running back situation right now. I don't think it's crippling or going to destroy the offense, but it's just not what we know it can be, in my opinion. I think you've just got some good players. I don't see a surefire NFL back anywhere. I don't see a 1,400-yard rusher anywhere. It's just fine. And I'm looking for a little bit of shot of life to the running back room, and we'll see what Trey Holly can do tomorrow. Now, I am impressed with LSU's wide receivers. I think Malik Neighbors is awesome. I think Brian Thomas is awesome. I think the freshman group they brought in is incredibly talented. And I'm curious to watch a little bit of Chris Hilton tomorrow because that's just not a guy we've had a chance to see very much of. He was fantastic in his high school career. He's shown himself to be a speed demon with the ball in his hands. And it's a crowded room to try to get the ball in your hands, quite frankly. And so I'd like to see him make a couple of plays, whether it's in the jet sweep game, stretching the field, screen game. I'd like to see Chris Hilton with the ball in his hands a little bit. I know what Malik Neighbors can do. If he makes an 80-yard touchdown catch tomorrow, that's awesome. It's fun to watch, but I already know he can do that. I want to watch Chris Hilton play a little bit. So I'd be curious to see if they can get him the ball. And that kind of dovetails into my next point that I'm kind of looking at here is deep balls. I think you're going to see a good bit of those tomorrow because I think there's going to be a focus on LSU getting the ball down the field this coming fall. And that is not just because I'd like to see that or because the fans rant and rave about it. Brian Kelly literally said in the season last year, hey, Jaden Daniels doesn't have an interception this year, which is, you would think, good statistically, but it may mean we're too cautious. And guess when you don't have to be cautious at all? The spring game. Guess when you don't have to be cautious at all? Spring practices. So take some risks. Throw some balls up. Let's see these wide receivers go up there and try to make some plays. And I think you're going to see some of that in the game tomorrow. I think there will be deep shots. I think they will take some chances because the more the quarterbacks stretch the field and take shots down the field and see their wide receivers make plays, the more they're going to be prone to do that. It just breeds confidence. And I don't think Garrett Nussmeier needs any goading into taking some shots down the field. He probably feels pretty good about doing that no matter what. But Daniels may need a little bit of that. And quite frankly, we don't need to see you running it all tomorrow, Jaden, because they can't tackle you. So when you take off, it really kills the excitement level and the enjoyment level of the spring game because somebody's just going to run over there and get close to you and they'll blow a whistle and when we got to play again. So don't run. Just chuck it up. Let's see some guys go make some plays. That's what I would like to see. Some other things that, may cross my mind here. Who's playing center? Who's out there snapping the football, and how does that look? At this point, we understand what LSU's offensive line looks like on the perimeter. We know that Emory Jones and Will Campbell are there. Now, if you talk to Zalance Hurd when he shows up in the spring, I think he would tell you that he's going to take one of the tackle spots. that remains to be seen. I still think that Will Campbell and Emory Jones have set this precedent that you can just come in and grab an offensive line spot as a freshman. It's not supposed to be that easy. Like, it's supposed to take some time at that position. You want to come in and take some carries at running back? Yeah, probably. You want to come work the slot as a wide receiver? I think freshmen can handle that. Playing tackle in the SEC, that's not supposed to be as easy as Campbell and Jones made it look at times last year. But you're pretty set on the tackles. What is the interior going to look like, specifically at center? You going to hand the keys to Charles Turner there, or are there guys that are going to fight that are maybe bigger players that can fight for that job? I'm curious to see who plays center. Javian Toviano is going to be out there tomorrow. 4-star recruit from Texas, versatile defender in the secondary. LSU doesn't have all the guys they will have eventually. Deuce Chestnut's not playing, and they don't have all the pieces to their secondary and what that will be. But Toviano figures to play some nickel, maybe play some corner. I don't think the plan is to have him at safety right now, but you never know when injuries happen where he might go. He doesn't profile as the fastest corner. He is more of a technician, a good tackler, solid body, more leaning toward the physical side than just a straight. I mean, he's more. Let me see if there's a good example. I know where the speed example I'm going to go is Dante Jackson. That's not Javian Toviano. Dante Jackson. He's more in the physical corner mold. I can't compare anybody to Stingley in that regard, but Christian Fulton. He's more in the Christian Fulton mold than he is the Dante Jackson mold. Does that make sense? I think that's a better comp. So I'm curious to see where he plays and what he does. Is he in the slot exclusively? Does he back up and play some safety? Does he go to the boundary and play corner? At that point, I'm reaching a little bit in terms of trying to pull information because they don't have all the guys and it's a spring practice and you can kind of put anybody anywhere you want. But I'm curious to see where Javian Toviano goes as well. And then, obviously, and I put this last because it's the most obvious thing, let's just see the quarterbacks throw it around a little bit. I lauded the quarterback situation yesterday for a good 15 minutes, just how quality I think LSU's quarterback situation is entering the year. And I highlighted the fact that, you just don't – it's a fool's errand to look at a team's quarterback room and project the next 2 to 3 years. There's going to be transfers in and out, and it's a fool's errand. But you can look at it right now as to what it's going to be this year. And I just think LSU's got two really strong quarterbacks who can pilot this offense and win football games against really anybody they play. I believe that. I think Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier give LSU a chance to beat anybody they play. And that's not always the case. I don't mean to drag on backup quarterbacks over the years, but if Mettenberger goes down, do you think Steven Rivers is going to come in and win a bunch of games? Do you think Miles Brennan was going to pilot that offense the way that Joe Burrow did? No, nobody's going to do that. But there's a drop-off is what I'm saying, and I just don't think that drop-off is huge this year. I think that's a great thing. So I'd like to see those guys kind of spin it a little bit, see what it looks like. Again, they're going to do some situational football early. They'll get into some 11-on-11. It's not going to be your standard traditional spring game. They just don't have enough guys to do that. They're hurting too much with guys either with minor injuries, major injuries that they're close to returning from, or they're just not in school yet on both lines of scrimmage to put together a full-scale deal. So anything that you do pass rushing-wise is tough to evaluate because you can't sack the quarterback. Some stuff's just tough to evaluate in the spring game. But they're going to go out there. They're going to get into Tiger Stadium, and if that's your thing and you're a football person and you just want to go in there and watch LSU play football, I'm all for it. I think it'll be a great weather day. It'll be great to see Joe Burrow back in Tiger Stadium and get to see the guys work out a little bit, and then we'll react to it certainly coming up on Monday's show. But the biggest portion of the day tomorrow for LSU's football program is not whatever plays they run in Tiger Stadium. It's the recruiting aspect of this thing. They've marked the field as such, and the visitor list is pretty impressive. So we'll chat with Shay Dixon of the Bengal Tigers on 3 Network, the Bengal Tiger. Chat with Shay coming up next.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's time for the NBA playoffs, and you can get in on the action right now from the first tip with FanDuel. Right now, all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend when you bet the NBA playoffs. That's right. Just place a 3-plus leg same-game parlay or same-game parlay plus on any NBA playoff game, and you'll get bonus bets back even if you don't win. There are great promotions like this every day on FanDuel. The app is safe, the app is secure, and the best part is when you win, you can get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. So visit FanDuel.com/1045ESPN and get a no-sweat same-game parlay every weekend of the NBA playoffs. It's FanDuel.com/1045ESPN to get that offer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Bonus issues a non-withdrawable free bet. It expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True, the local organization that grants dreams to Louisiana kids suffering life-threatening illnesses and their families. We've interviewed these incredible kids, and their stories warm our hearts. And none of it would be possible without your help. So we're asking for your support in our effort to making more dreams come true. Each year, our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today, and thank you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. We're live from the Zurich Classic, previewing LSU, Ole Miss, and baseball, and what to watch in Saturday's spring game. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Big recruiting weekend for Brian Kelly's program. It is the National L Club spring game, but it's loaded with high school visitors. Shay Dixon's going to tell us all about it. He is with On 3 Networks, the Bengal Tiger. He joins us now on the Jim's Firearm Hotline. Shay, how are you on this Friday?
I'm doing well. How are you, huh?
I'm doing quite well. Safe to say that this is a bigger weekend for recruiting than practicing for LSU's football program?
Yes,
I would say that that's why they've repainted the field and taken away the eye. They are more concerned about recruiting than practicing against each other, which I think is a great thing. That's what you need to be focused on.
Lifeblood of the program. For those that haven't seen it, you can go to LSU Football's Twitter profile, and they've got the field repainted. It's got the Louisiana logo with the path written on it. The end zones are a little different, but they're going all out trying to get some recruiting done this weekend. Can they use Joe Burrow in recruiting at all?
Yeah, you can use any former player. Brian Kelly said everyone's been pretty helpful. I think Burrow's supposed to be in town. I know Kelly said he was coming and kind of joked that he wasn't, but the word around town was that he was potentially going to be in. So Joe Burrow, whoever else shows up, is going to lend a helping hand. Did I miss a rant? Did you get mad about the field or anything?
No, I'm not mad about the field at all. I actually would like them to take that Louisiana logo that's on the football field and put it on the court of the PMAC and then put LSU next to it instead of the helmet tiger. I don't want them to do anything to the eye of the tiger at midfield. That's got to be good. But I kind of like the Louisiana logo. I'd like to put it on the basketball court.
It's a hot take. I kind of like those end zones. If people don't know what we're talking about.
No, the end zones are bad. I can't get on board with the end zones. Those are bad.
I can't get you on board there. All right, fair enough.
For those that want to see it, go to LSU Football's Twitter account. They're posted there. So what is this weekend like in terms of activities for the visitors that do come? Is it kind of like a junior day, an official visit style deal? Is it more like a game day where they see the staff outside of things? I mean, what are they able to get accomplished here with the amount of guests that they're going to have on hand?
Yeah, it can be almost kind of like an extended game day. So where you have a little bit more access to coaches, where they're not like rushing back to watch film and all that. But today, Friday, guys are starting to roll in, and they'll do dinner and all that tonight. And then tomorrow they'll do a bunch of tours, and guys will be in the locker room and all that. And then the team will get ready for the game. And then after the game, I know they're doing a crawfish boil, and then they'll have guys hang out overnight, which, hanging out with their parents and all that even more at dinner. So it should be kind of like an official visit weekend, but with a lot more kids and kind of a little bit more low-key, laid back.
I see that Colin Simmons is expected to be on hand. He's obviously a five-star, top 5 player in the country on the defensive front. Tell us about Simmons and kind of where LSU fits into that puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, LSU is the on-3 RPM leader, kind of right there, tied at the top for him. But this is a kid coming out of Duncanville in the Dallas area who is a 5-star, as you noted, a defensive end, edge-type prospect, but is being recruited by everybody. Now, I will say, even beyond Texas, Texas A&M, all those types of in-state schools, he's visited LSU more than he's visited any other school. I think he's been to campus like 6 or 7 times even over the past kind of year and a half. So he's definitely got sincere interest, but this is one, Georgia, Bama, all of these schools already lining up for official visits. He did kind of a West Coast tour as well. So this is the who's who, right? Like there's always those premier defensive end edge guys, which Womack was a year ago, that come through. Will Anderson was a few years back. Colin Simmons is kind of that guy this year.
So I know that most teams have wrapped up their spring and played their spring games, a lot of them over the last 2 weeks. Is LSU maybe getting a more robust visitor list because there aren't that many games this weekend, or am I reading too much into that?
That is true, but you're still going head-to-head with old Coach Saban.
Yeah, true.
Bama's spring game, I believe, is right at the same time. Might be at like 2 o'clock, but both of them on Saturday afternoon. So I will note, I talked about this in the podcast this week on the Bengal Tiger, that I was really impressed by how many guys are getting to campus, even beyond Colin Simmons, of guys who are high on Alabama, not only been offered, but like some are like, Bama's the on-3 RPM leader, thought to be the team out front, and obviously they would be invited to 8A and could have gone to that and instead are down here in Baton Rouge. So I did think that was an impressive note when I looked over the list. Like they've got well over 50 guys that are coming in. 20 probably of those guys are guys that have Bama offers.
So I know you and Billy will kind of be all over this once the dust settles with the weekend, and you'll be calling guys, kind of getting some reaction, taking the temperature of where things stand with some of these guys as they enter their summer before their senior year. Are there 2 or 3 guys that you may try to call first that you think are these are their big weekends for big name guys?
Yeah, one, I mean, right here in Baton Rouge area over at Denham Springs, and I did this quiz with Billy on the podcast. He got it, but it took him a while. I think you could get it. But Denham Springs safety Deshaun McBride will be on campus again. This is a kid who's a 4-star. I think he's like 6'3", 200 right now as a junior in high school, like I said, about to be a senior next year. He's going to announce his commitment Saturday. It would be odd to announce your commitment to another school while you're on LSU's campus. So I would think this would be a day that he announces he's staying home to play for the Tigers. And
You got that one locked into the RPM, the prediction machine? I think that's a pretty safe bet.
It's a bold move to go onto another campus and then say you're announcing for somebody else. But I don't know if I've seen that one before. I've seen a bunch of hat throws, all
Sure.
that, but never that. But this is a big time. He's a top 20 safety. And, Hunt, from just looking at the roster, we've said it all off season. Beyond Major Burns and Greg Brooks, they don't have a lot of safeties that are proven that have, been out there and experienced. And really, they don't have a ton of depth there. They've kind of been moving kind of high school recruits in who were corners or safeties in high school that played both back to safety. So I think safety is an important piece to this class. So getting a second guy on board would be big. And McBride, here was my quick LSU football recruiting quiz. Who was the last guy out of Denham Springs LSU ended?
Cade Doty on the baseball team? Does that count?
Well, you can't say yes. That is true. That was recent.
Man.
Last football player. It was like 5 or 6 years ago, probably.
Denham Springs. I don't. It feels like a lineman, but I can't come up with it.
Caleb Roddy.
Oh, wow.
There's your
Yeah.
Denham Springs quiz of the day.
I would not have gotten that one. There was a time where I would have knocked that out of the park, but those days are in the rearview mirror. Question for you, Shay. And I didn't prep you on this, but I know that LSU brought in 2 running backs in this class, 2 Louisiana guys that are figured to be nice talents and nice ads. But LSU, to me, just hasn't had the dude in the backfield over the last 3 or 4 years since Clyde left. Is that on the horizon for this class?
I think there's some hope that that's on the horizon with the 2 guys they brought in, whether it's Caleb Jackson or Trey Holly, right? I think what's really interesting right now, and it's funny to say it because Noah Cain and Trey Holly are the only 2 scholarship running backs that took part in any spring practice, but they're really deep there. They have 6 running backs, and John Emery's part of the team, and if Goodwin's healthy and Williams is healthy, and look, I know that's like a lot to put together at once, but they have enough guys that even when guys were getting hurt last year, they still could roll 3 running backs out there a game, and now you've added a couple more. I think that this is almost a feel of a kid named Caden Durham, who's Colin Simmons' teammate, actually. They've got a really stacked team at Duncanville, is one of the fastest running backs in the country, one of the top 15 running backs in the country. I think he just moved into the top 100 overall. I'm on 3. But he's got LSU, OU as kind of his top teams, and I feel like LSU swinging for the fences there because even if you don't hit him and you feel like you need something, you can go in the portal. Yeah. But next year in Louisiana will have probably 3 or 4 of the top 250 players in the country at running back, including 2 guys, and James Simon out of Shreveport and Harlan Berry over in New Orleans, who are already ranked as top 10 running backs. And Berry's ranked as the number 2 running back in the country. So they'll stock up next year in Louisiana. That's why I feel like it's kind of like, hey, let's swing for one guy this year. If we don't get him, great. We'll move on to what could be the answer to your question, some guys in that Louisiana crop in 2025 that are definitely home runs.
Gotcha. Just looked up James Simon. Never heard of him. Could have guessed that he was a Calvary. So
you were not going to guess Shreve. Okay.
I was not going to guess Loyola. I can promise you that.
Loyola,
I was not going to guess Loyola. We've had, I think, one player that moved on. He actually went to Stanford. John Alston went to Stanford and played for the Rams. But that's about it at LCP. Anything you're looking for in the spring game? It's admittedly a pretty boring, boring spring, which I think is a good thing. But anything you're looking at in the spring game tomorrow?
I guess I'd like to see, I do want to see how Jaden and Garrett look throwing it around to, these receivers, because while they have been injured, a lot of guys are recovering from surgeries or whatever it might be. Receiver beyond Aaron Anderson, everyone's been out there in practice, and Nussmeier and Jaden have been there all spring, and they've got at least 5 O-linemen. That's about all they have right now healthy, but they've all played before at least. So Kelly kind of hinted and came out and said, hey, I expect the offense to do really well. Those guys have all played plenty, and if you toss them like a Noah Cain. So want to see those guys throwing it around. Even, of course, everybody wants to see Jaden throwing it deep and all, Nussmeier being efficient, not turning it over. But defensively, there's a lot of guys. I think this is probably my storyline of the spring. There's a lot of guys on defense that are getting first and second team reps that would not have gotten them had every member of the defense been there, and a lot of the defense is out right now. So whether that's on the D-line, whether that's at DB, there's just some unanswered questions for me behind like the no-brainers like Mason Smith and Mikal Wingo and guys like that. And I think we'll get a little glimpse into it. I'm interested to see, specifically at those two positions on the transfer front.
Commitment story, spring game recap, recruiting visit recap, all of it is at the Bengal Tiger, part of the On3 network. Shay Dixon, the man over there. We appreciate it, man. Have a good weekend.
All right, hon. I'll see you tomorrow, maybe.
I'll be watching golf tomorrow. I'm going to watch the spring game on YouTube, probably.
I'm not going to see you tomorrow then. All right, we'll catch up soon then.
Sounds good, Shay. See you. He is Shay Dixon. That's our guy over there at On3. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and the Baton Rouge Clinic bring you the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Dreams Come True, an organization designed to help grant dreams for children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. Dreams Come True Radiothon presented today by Luba, Lewis Mechanical, and Acura of Baton Rouge. You can donate today to the Dreams Come True Radiothon at 1045ESPN.com. Every $5 donation enters you into our raffle to win Aaron and Austin Nola autographed bat, ball, and picture, Justin Jefferson autographed LSU helmet, a Justin and Jamar framed wall print, 3 days and 2 nights at the CMA Music Festival in Nashville in June, a concert ticket package to see Thomas Rhett, Shinedown, Zach Bryan, Depeche Mode, Guns N' Roses, and Hardy. I've said it a few times this week, but the listeners have just been so great. This month with Dreams Come True. We're doing everything we can to make as many of these dreams come true for these children battling life-threatening illnesses. So if you do have the means, we humbly ask that you go to 1045ESPN.com and donate what you can. No donation is too small. No donation is too big. Y'all have just been fantastic over the last 21 days. We got a week and a half left to do the best that we can, so we appreciate all your help there. Over there at 1045ESPN.com with the Dreams Come True Radiothon. Our Friday shows brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp on Government Street. We'll come back and close things out on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It is Friday afternoon, about time for a cold beer. If you're going to get one, try Rally Cap out. Handmade for the home team right here in Baton Rouge. You're looking for something to do this evening. LSU baseball got pushed back. Hey, 5 o'clock. They got tours of their brewery and tap room over there at Rally Cap just off Segan Lane. You do need a ticket in advance. So go to rallycapbrewing.com, buy a ticket. Go check out their operation over there at Rally Cap. And the best part at the end, they'll give you a guided flight with all of their delicious beers. They've got 14 beers on tap, even more canned options. I've got right in front of me the First Pitch and the Windy Peppercorn in a Pickle. It's great. They're all baseball-themed names, which is really, really cool, and they're very, very tasty. It's a great place to watch a game. They've got 8 televisions over there. They're family-friendly, pet-friendly, and they do an awesome job right here in our hometown brewing delicious craft beers. Rally Cap, rallycapbrewing.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, That's there for you at Front to Back Boat Service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get him now before they go back on back order. Front to Back Boat Service.
Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown is back. Join us on Saturday, April 22nd at the Ochsner Medical Complex at The Grove. We've got cooking teams of pros and joes serving up their best jambalaya and Cajun Creole dishes, all while helping raise dough for local families battling cancer. Bring the whole family for great food, live tunes, and good times. Clash of the Cooks Jambalaya Showdown presented by Ochsner. Saturday, April 22nd at lunchtime. Help us paddle it forward. For tickets and more information, go to clashofthecooks.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225.
Jimmy Ott and Charles Hanniger for the Monday edition of Game Time. We're live at Finbom on Burbank and Lee, right next to Rouse's. Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. Monday from Finbom on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Beauty of baseball. Cubs break my heart last night. Come back at 1:20 today. They're just destroying the Dodgers 9-0. You love to see it. Our Friday show is brought to you by Cork's Cajun Fried Fish and Shrimp. Check out the website, corksfishandshrimp.com. You can check out their menu. You can order your catering or order online to go pick up over there at their location on Government Street. Love the folks over there. They're the ones that brought you Kuyon's Barbecue, and they got a new concept, Corks, over there on Government, and it is fantastic. So get on by this weekend for some fried fish, fried shrimp, delicious, crispy fries. Got the Hush Puppies over there as well, beignet bites. It's awesome. CorksFishandShrimp.com is the website. All right, we're about done here on a Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Let's play a little Take It or Leave It, Jacob Beck.
All right, Fox's Chris Broussard says unless the Warriors get to the finals or win the championship, that Draymond Green is gone. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I mean, I think that's kind of been the writing on the wall, right? I mean, it feels like he has some eyes for the Lakers at this point and might be headed that direction when things are said and done. It's been an unbelievable run for those guys, like him or hate him, which I think a lot of folks around here, especially if you're a Pelicans fan, not big Draymond fans, but they've done an unbelievable job over there. And I don't think they've got it in them this year. It goes back to that thing where you can't bet against Tom Brady and you can't bet against Bill Belichick and you can't bet against Tiger Woods coming back and you can't bet against the Warriors. Well, I think I am betting against the Warriors here. They did get back on track last night without him, and the Kings haven't been great, on the road, and the Warriors are unbelievable at home. But I don't know that they've got it in the tank this year, but it's been a heck of a run. I think it will end. They got to find a way to replace him. You still got a reasonably in their prime Curry and Thompson. They're a little bit towards the back end of it, but I still think those two guys have some runs left in them. I just think it'll be without Draymond.
Yeah, I agree. Draymond, I mean, at this point, what they need to pay him, I think they'd probably move on.
Yep.
All right. DePaul forward Anissa Morrow has narrowed her transfer list to 3: USC, South Carolina, the other USC, and LSU. Perfect season incoming. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave the perfect season. Sounds like South Carolina's making a push for her services. She averaged over 20 a game in the post for DePaul last year, so one of the best players in the portal along with Haley Van Lith. But the key here is that time over time, LSU with Kim Mulkey is continuing to be in the mix for these monster transfers. And because of the exposure you get in Baton Rouge and because of the NIL opportunities and because they're going to win, it's really attractive. And in the way that Jay Johnson's dominating the transfer portal in baseball and has for 2 years, I expect Kim Mulkey to keep doing that in basketball. So whether or not they get Morrow, whether or not they get Van Lith, or if they get both of them, they're still in the mix more often than not for some of the best players in the country. And if they do get both those players, look out. They could go undefeated because that happens in women's basketball more than it does in any other sport. But, man, that would be something if they could get it done.
Yeah, Morrow and Angel Reese together. That would be a pretty good deal there.
Yeah, with that backcourt that they've got, it's going to be something.
Right, Live Golf has a stadium hole set up this week. Take it or leave it. I think I know where you're going with this.
My God. It's so stupid. Go to Twitter on the Live page. a guy. They're trying to make it like the 17th at Scottsdale, the 16th at Scottsdale, and this guy hits his tee shot to like 3 feet, which is a great shot, but he hit it to 3 feet. He didn't make it, and then like everyone throws their canned beer onto the hole, like they told him to do that. Everything they do sucks. Everything they do sucks, and that is stupid. We've already done this. We've got a party hole. It's at Scottsdale. You can't just carbon copy it, try to create it, and think it's a cool thing. It's not. Nothing you do is cool. I despise Live Golf.
Yeah, I agree. That's a bad look, man. It's pretty obvious that they're literally just trying to replicate Scottsdale.
Yep.
Not going to work in my opinion. Nope. But all right, last one here. Our Cubbies are currently up 9-0, I think, on the Dodgers.
That's right.
However, they are third in the Central. The Brew Crew and the Pirates are
good.
really surprising. The Pirates, they're looking pretty good starting the season here.
Let me tell you how that's going to end up. If Bo Wegman, our engineer's listening, God love him. He's a Pittsburgh guy, and he's got his Pirates hat on 4 days a week. It's not going to finish well for the Pirates.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. All right, anyway, the Chicago Cubs will make the wild card. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Why not? It's April.
I'll take it.
I'll take it in April. They're playing much better than expected, and I'm very happy about that, and I hope that they can give me a fun summer into the fall. I think they're a year ahead of schedule. They've got some younger guys that are going to come up here, and they still got some money to spend to add to it. But this is fun right now. Their offense is totally different than it's been in the last 6 years. They're a heavy contact team that doesn't strike out a lot and walks, and as opposed to the boomer bust that you had with Chris Bryant and Javi Baez at times. This is just consistent. And then some of the guys who we thought were boomer busts, like Bellinger and Wisdom, have been awesome. So it's been fun to watch, and they're in control right now over the Dodgers, so that's a very, very good thing. All right, that'll do it for Take It or Leave It here on this Friday. I want to give you a quick look at the leaderboard down at the Zurich, where we're about to toss things to Matt. Wyndham Clark and Bo Hostler are done in round 2. They fired a 67. They lead by 2 shots at 16 under par over Patrick Cantley and Xander Schauffele, who shot 63 best ball today. That is the best score in the history of the event. They had the best 9 in the history of the event. Those two, after a terrible day yesterday with 3 bogeys, have played great. They're 2 shots off the pace, as are Martin Traynor and Chad Ramey. Sean O'Hare and Brandon Matthews are 2 shots off the pace as well. They're back in action down there. I gave you Denny McCarthy and Joel Damon in my betting picks. They're 12 under, just tied for 7th right there. And then I thought Siwoo Kim and Tom Kim had a chance to be pretty salty. They're in 10th place at this point as well. Keith Mitchell and Sung J M are early in their round. They're 11 under par. And then the team I gave you I thought had a real chance to win was Justin Suh and Sahat Tagala, who threw 4 holes, just 1 under today, an alternate shot, but they'll crank things back up tomorrow with some best ball where the scores can go super, super low. Little rain delay down at the Zurich earlier, but they are fired up and ready to go right now, and I'm pumped to get down there tomorrow to watch a little bit of golf. I'll give you a little bit on that when we come back on Monday's show. If you missed any of today's show, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, all those places have all of our sound. But I opened the show talking LSU baseball. Then we had David Eckert from the Clarion Ledger talking Ole Miss baseball and what Mike Bianco's squad has struggled with thus far. I gave you my prediction for LSU and Ole Miss at 1:30. Picked Ole Miss to win 2 out of 3. I gave you the reasons why if you want to go back and listen to it, but I did. Rule change in college football. That was to close out hour number 1. They're going to speed things up a little bit. Some SEC baseball and spring game thoughts with Shay Dixon at 2:30. That's going to do it for us here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Matt Moscona is about to drive you home from the Zurich. We're back Monday, same time, same place. Enjoy your weekend. See you here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
Not only did she tell us, but this young lady, stand up. And this young lady won our
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right